Hello, and welcome to another trippy episode of We Only Look Thin. I am one of your hosts, Donald Weigel. I have lost about 100 pounds. I've kept it off for, 6.5 years at this point. And we are here to talk about it. And with me, as always, is
Catherine Weigel. I am a Tiny Habit certified coach, a Thrive Global certified coach. I have lost over 120 pounds and kept it off for over 6 years.
Whoa.
And I was going to say, and with me today is Donald Weigel, but you already said that. You might be the least trippy person I know.
Yeah, no.
There's no one who should not talk about tripping more than you.
If there's one thing that I've never been described as, is trippy.
Trippy. Not at all. I actually, when I moved many times as a child, it makes it sound like I was like a hobo on the rails. But my first day at a new middle school, I was not familiar with the terrain, and I tripped over something.
Yeah.
And later that day, some boys who went on to torment me for many years came out with the, "Hey, how was your trip?" And I was like, What trip?" And they were like, "When you fell because you're a jerk." And that was middle school. Like, I wish I had a better comeback at the time.
Very clever. When you fell because you're a jerk.
But I didn't get it. So I was also not familiar with trips.
Well, you give me those boys' names, and I will hunt them down and make them pay like Liam Neeson.
You know what? They're probably just on Facebook. It's fine.
I have a particular set of skills.
I'm not sure that hunting people down like Liam Neeson.
Liam Leeson.
Liam Leeson is...
That's actually my screen name. Liam Leeson.
It is. See, so you came up with the tripping beginning to the episode. We often sort of rock, paper, scissors to see who has to come up with something clever to say when we open. And you won this battle royale.
Yeah.
I think because you said you had an opener, and I was like, all right.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, no, you should give the listeners the impression that we fought over it.
Yeah, but anyway, I don't know if it brings any value, but we get a kick out of it. We think it's super fun.
Yeah, we don't tell each other what we're going to say at the beginning, so the reaction is
it's
genuine.
Authentic and genuine. I was going to try to say something about N.E.A.T in St. Louis, because this episode is called N.E.A.T in St. Louis, which is a sort of a Christmas in July episode, sort of.
I have a very weird, fond memory of that song, Meet Me in St. Louis. Like, when I was in first grade, like, no joke, we had a music class, and one of the things we would do is we had this list of songs to sing, and the teacher would play the piano, and we would read, we had the music and the lyrics, and we would sing Meet Me in St. Louis, and my friends and I just loved singing that song in first grade.
What are you talking?
I'm
is this like
absolutely
a fictional?
serious. No, I'm.
No
100%,
one has had fun singing.
I'm 100%
How does it
serious.
even go?
We would. It's meet me in St. Louis, meet me at the fair, and we would.
Right. Okay.
And we would like exaggerate, like meet me in St. Louis. Like,
this is new information to me.
Crazy into it. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't.
Yeah. I don't know. It was like, I know it's like super dumb, but I have this like super fond memory of like me and a bunch of like, rowdy first graders singing that song really loud in music class.
This is new information. Just when I didn't think I could learn anything new about you. The only reference I have to Meet Me in St. Louis is a few years ago, you, forced me. Is that a thing that people do?
Yes.
Like, we watch a few Christmas movies over and over again.
Yeah.
And you were like, we should add new ones. And I was like, I don't like new things. I just want to do what I already know. And you're like, well, how about we watch Meet Me in St. Louis? Because that is the one that song that is beloved. Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
Yeah.
That is where that is from.
I panicked for a second because I couldn't remember which famous Christmas song was from that movie.
I was going to say, clang, clang, clang goes the trolley.
Yes,
that Christmas
famous
song.
Christmas song, yeah.
But that movie, okay, so it is a Christmas movie, but it spans a year in the life of this family.
It's not really a Christmas movie. There's just like one Christmas scene in it.
Right. But you know what I remember most of all?
No.
The traumatic Halloween part. We're taking Halloween to task again on another episode of We Only Look Thin.
Yeah.
There is a scene where the kids have a bonfire. They start setting their neighborhood on fire.
Oh yeah, it was like anarchy in the streets.
Like all these kids, and like one kid comes home with like a broken tooth, and like one almost gets run over by a train.
Oh yeah,
and
no,
like
it was like Halloween was like some sort of nightmare.
it was like the purge, and the parents are like, the dad is like has a pipe and a newspaper. He's like, oh kids,
this is just what kids do. They run around burning houses down in the neighborhood on like, Halloween.
What is happening? So that was I guess St. Louis back in the day. But you know what those kids were getting? See, I'm bringing it back to the subject of this episode.
Yes, please do. We were very much off the rails.
They were outside getting NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Sure, they were setting bonfires, but they were also just getting activity, doing the things they love, which is really important.
It turns out the rowdier you are, the more calories you burn.
See, just by doing what you love. And so often we think that life needs to be a slog. But if we take a page out of the Rowdy Kid book from St. Louis,
that's right,
we can make our lives neat as well. And we are going to take you on an adventure today.
Yeah.
About vacations and summertime.
Yeah, I said it was a trippy episode. What I meant was we're going to talk about taking trips, taking vacations, taking road trips. We have done a bunch of episodes about this before, but we're doing a little different one.
Yeah, but you know why we're doing it? Because we forget. We forget, you forget, we all forget what traveling is like, what holidays are like. A year goes by, and so we thought it was time to do a refresher. And I personally, Catherine Weigel, America, have recently gotten back from a trip myself.
You sure did.
And what kind of a person am I before I go on a trip?
An absolute delight.
No, I'm a terror.
Oh, right. You're the opposite of that.
I don't know how y'all are. I don't know.
Y'all? When did you start saying y'all?
I don't know. When we went to St. Louis. I don't know what they say.
I don't think they say y'all in
I'm
St.
glad
Louis.
You didn't say St. Louis.
Yeah.
Louis.
Yeah. That's right.
Okay, so I am not my best self before I travel. I don't know about
Catherine. Like it's not like she can look forward to a trip.
Nope.
She gets like intensely aggro about everything.
Because, and I don't know if anybody else is like this, but before you travel, you've got work to do. You've got to make sure all the bills are paid. You've got to make sure you've got like a dog sitter and the house is clean and all of your actual work is done and packing and all that stuff.
Yeah, see, I just don't do any of those things.
Oh, guys, husbands, am I right? No, we travel like Donald packs in like 30 minutes. He's like out the door, ready to go. And for me, I even thinking about it right now, I'm getting very stressed out about it. But we're going to try to make your travel easier by setting you up with 3 things that you can do to have a successful vacation and a successful return.
Yeah. So if you're somebody who starts planning way ahead and you really want to lock down your health and fitness weight loss plan for your vacation, your trip, please go back and listen to the deeper dives we've done. I will link in the show notes to some of the other episodes where that involve a lot of planning and looking ahead at menus and setting policies and those sorts of things. But if you are a little bit more like Catherine, and look, frankly, we still, after all these years, both have trouble navigating vacations. All of the, the sort of planning and setting policies ahead of time. We'll get out there on the field at game time, and you're actually on the vacation. And sometimes I'm just like, I'm just letting it all go. Even now.
Well, but I think too, we like back in the days of yore when we started this in the 1900s.
Yeah.
No, I guess anyway.
It wasn't.
It wasn't in the 1900s.
It was still the 2000s.
It was the 2000s.
The 20 teens.
But we come in with really rigid ideas about what we need to do on vacation. And quite frankly, like Donald said, it's still a challenge for us. And coming up with lots of policies when we're away can be challenging. And I know for me, like I said, before I travel, I am super stressed out. So we're going to try to de-stress by just three. Three is a great number, isn't it, Donald? Three things you can do.
Three is the magic number if Schoolhouse Rock taught me anything.
Yeah. So when I go on vacation, or like if someone asks you about vacation, and you don't know what I'm going to say.
No.
You don't know what to say?
No.
People, like, what do you hate being asked about going on vacation?
That question.
That question?
No, I don't know. I think, I don't know if I hate anything. I don't, when people say, I think it's not when people ask me something. I think when people say, "Oh, you're going to X place," oh, you've gotta blank.
You don't like, because that's like a chore.
Because
someone's giving you work to
that's
do.
That's like, oh, really? I gotta do that? Like, otherwise, I feel like, oh, so like my trip won't be good if I don't do that one thing. Like, I don't like that.
That's true. Okay, so I actually realized there's two questions I hate. One is, "Ooh, are you looking forward to your trip?" No, Janice, I am not looking forward to my trip. I always say this. I'm like, I will look forward to my trip when the captain has lit the seatbelt sign.
Right.
Like, until then, I'm not a pleasant person. And Donald, I apologize. But the second question, which is actually where we're going to start.
Yeah.
This is where we're going to start. So we're diving into tip number one. Tip number one. The question is, when are you coming back?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going on vacation when you get back. You're like, I haven't even gone yet, and you're already thinking about coming back?
But we, contrary to that, are going to ask you, so the number one thing you can do is think about what you're going to do when you get back. If everything goes wrong, in air quotes, or maybe if you have the best time of your life and you just, like, your health and fitness journey just goes out the window on your vacation, we're asking you to set yourself up for success when you get back. And that involves, plan your home so that you've got your dishes done, things are cleaned, you don't have to come back and hit your housework right away. It's set yourself up with some, shelf stable foods that are within your plan so that you have things that are ready to go, frozen meals, things that are right there. Set yourself up with a grocery delivery. I know on the grocery stores around us, you can set up a list of favorites, and maybe you can't order, quite a week or 2 weeks ahead or whatever, but set up a favorites list. And then, a day or two before you get back, pull the trigger on having it delivered for shortly after you get back, so that you have food in the house that's not going to, lead you to immediately like order more takeout and keep the vacation going for another several days.
Well, and I think that is the big problem, because I am generally so stressed out before I leave that when I get back, it's, well, now there's laundry, and I'm jet lagged, and I'm tired, and I don't have a plan. So that vacation mentality does end up going on. I mean, for me, it used to go on for like a week or two after that, of like, well, I'm not going to be able to do laundry for another week, and I'm not going to be able to go grocery shopping, and I'm too overwhelmed, and we've just been eating 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day. How could I possibly get back on track?
Right.
So what we're saying is, before you even leave for vacation, decide how you're going to handle your return. For me, that might mean, and like Donald said, there's a lot of practical things that you can do for your home to set yourself up, but also decide in advance how you're going to return. It might be unrealistic to say, well, day one, I'm back on track. I'm going to eat at a huge deficit after, overeating for a week or two. Maybe your policy, or maybe your ideal to get back is, I'm just going to get back to tracking immediately and work to eat at maintenance. Now, that's not, maybe you want to feel like you're making a big change by going into a huge deficit, but that can be really difficult upon return. So just having the idea in mind of, as soon as I get back, I'm going to eat at maintenance. That's lower stress. It's more calories to kind of ease you back into your routine. And it doesn't create this giant, shock wave of like, oh my gosh, now I've got to be all austere, and you're stressed out and you're jet lagged. Just go for maintenance.
Yeah. So, and just in case people listening don't know what that means, that is, let's say that your daily calorie goal to lose weight might be 1,700. Maybe you eat at 2,000 or even 2,500 when you first come back, just to, so that you're not going from whatever 4 or 5,000 calorie a
Yeah.
day days you've been having on vacation, so that then you're not like trying to go right back to, kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say austerity measures, but you're easing yourself back into your calorie goals. And maybe you do the same thing by sort of setting a minimum with your exercise plan.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not like, okay, day one, I'm back to, 20,000 steps and lifting weights, whatever it is that you normally do. I don't know what you normally do, but maybe it's just like, okay, so I'm going to get back. I'm going to go on like a walk. I'm going to do a 10-minute walk. I'm going to do like 5 minutes of my yoga. Like I'm going to do, just a minimum to sort of ease myself back into it. But really decide ahead of time and really like promise yourself that you're going to stick to whatever it is when you get back, to get yourself back into the habit of doing your habits when you return.
No, that's such a great idea. And especially just sort of going back into NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. You might have a day when you get back where you're just like, piles of laundry and I've got to do luggage and like, I got to, go pick up the dog from, I keep imagining we have a fictional dog
that
we take to dog
yeah.
parades, that it's at a dog parade and then it came back.
Right.
But all of those kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm missing my step goal. And I think you have an issue with this in particular. I'm pointing at you right now. I should have.
No, she's literally pointing at me on a podcast.
No, you get really discouraged when you don't hit your step goal, but knowing for yourself, like, hey, the day after a big trip is going to be a non-typical day.
Right.
And it's okay to not hit my step goal today, but prioritizing a short walk, prioritizing vegetables, prioritizing maintenance is a way to just sort of allow yourself that little time in between to get your rhythm back in place rather than, I'll just start August 1st again, which is something I used to do. I would wait just like a whole month.
Yeah, and maybe you're the kind of person who can jump right back in and start hitting your plan again. But if you are, get yourself to do that. But exactly like Catherine just said, what I would often do is I would look at a calendar and be like, well, I'm just going to not do anything now until the first of the next month and dig myself deeper and deeper for that time.
Well, and I think too, in Wolt Place, We Only Look Thin Place, our Facebook-based accountability group, this comes up a lot of sort of how am I going to set myself up? There's a lot of worry about vacation. What am I going to do when I'm there? But really that idea of letting people know, hey, I'm going to be on vacation. I'm coming back on this day. And for me, that means I'm going to show up. We do something called a day in the life, which is a food posting challenge in one of our subgroups where it's like, hey, I'm just going to post honestly for a day. Because when you're hiding like your food choices, for me, that is a big sort of red flag that things aren't going well.
Yeah.
But I know that diving right back in to my consistency of showing up in the group really benefits me into like just being back in the mindset of being healthy. So what can you do to get back toward your healthy habits and ramp back into it quickly instead of slowly?
All right. So what is the second thing we're going to ask people to do on their vacation trip situation?
Okay. So you've gotten on the plane, you tighten the seatbelt, whatever, click. I don't know why I made that. I'm not very good.
I was like,
top.
I was right there.
Whoa.
It was like I was on the plane hearing the sounds of the seatbelt.
Okay. So we have done episodes in the past where we give you dozens upon dozens of ideas of ways to manage your food habits when you are traveling. But let's say, for example, all of that is too much to bear. The one thing that I have prioritized the last couple of trips that I've gone on that has really helped me is simply having a policy of pumping up the volume, almost gamifying, like wherever you're going, a conference, a road trip, a resort, your family's house, a lake house, whatever. There's so many different ways to travel, but your guiding focus of just asking yourself, anywhere that you are, how can I pump up the volume right now? How can I add a veggies or fruit or some sort of fiber to wherever I am and whatever I'm eating?
I think you what you mean to say is how you can ask yourself to
pump up the volume. Pump up the volume. That means adding lots of fruits and veggies. Thank you. I forgot.
I know
the sound of pump up the volume.
I've desperately been wanting to interrupt you to do that.
Oh, I thought you needed to sneeze, but you didn't.
But you were in a zone. I didn't want to cut off the content.
So if you look at it like gamifying, almost like you're like Pokemon Go. I haven't played, I don't know. Have we played Pokemon Go? Maybe we did a little bit.
We played Pokemon Go back when it first came out. In fact, I remember one night we walked down to an area where there were supposed to be Pokemon, and there were like 6 or 7 other people.
Oh yeah, that was
like
back in the
out.
Before times.
Yeah, no, I was really into that game for about like a month, and then I was like, nah, I'm all right with this.
Yeah, we got stuff to do. So many times when we're on vacation, we start worrying about like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get through this? What are the temptations? I don't know what we're going to have. I haven't had time to check the menu. When we think about subtracting or trying to use our willpower to get through a vacation, it can be really stressful. But if you go into it almost like you're on the hunt for veggies and fruit, that feels much more like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to have. Whatever it is, I can add a side salad. Like, I'm just going to focus on what I can add. And that feels much less stressful to me than trying to be like, well, I've got this rule about this and this about that. I'm like, burr, burr, burr. Like, that's the sound that I make.
That is the sound that you make. You make that sound all the time. But I imagine that I'm a Terminator and I've got that screen display. And I'm like looking around, and then I'll see like a vegetable, and it's like target acquired.
Ooh, I like that. See,
and then I will eat it. I will terminate it by eating it.
I was thinking of it like Pac-Man, like you know how he levels up when he gets the cherries,
that's a good one
and he's
too,
like, quack, quack. So for me, that like, oh, we're at a rest stop. Oh no, look at all of the snackos that I could eat. They typically also have a cold section where they have like cups of fruit or apples or like a small side salad. What if you just got whatever you were going to get plus level up with an apple? Like, is it a party? No. But like, it's great fiber and it's something just to add to your day. You can do this at a rest stop. You can do it at a grocery store, at a fast food chain, at your relative's house, at a barbecue, at a conference. Just seek out that extra volume and then like have whatever else on the side, but just try to add that. And that's what I did actually on the last 2 vacations. When we went on a family vacation last summer, my one goal was to just have a salad every day.
Yeah.
And then I recently went away and it was watermelon season, everybody. Watermelon everywhere. Eating all the watermelon. And I didn't have any other plan but just to try to add fruits and veggies. And it really helped me with the fiber. It filled me up. And I actually came back and I hadn't gained any weight.
Yeah, that's great. You do a much better job of that than I do when we're on vacation. But I just wanted to mention, as a public service announcement to the listeners, if you travel to certain countries, you do need to get vaccinated against Pac-Man fever. So just be aware of which countries when you're heading.
Oh boy!
Because you don't want Pac-Man fever.
No, you've got to get inoculated when you're
traveling. Yeah. But I just wanted to kind of rephrase quickly. We're asking you to try pumping up the volume because when you do that, we're not saying don't have the indulgent treats on your vacation.
Right.
What we're saying is, try to always add something, fruits, veggies, something that's going to pump up the volume so that you're still sort of keeping yourself in the game. You're keeping, one foot in the game, and also you're filling yourself up on these other things. So maybe you're not quite eating as much of the indulgent treats. It feels a lot less like you're depriving yourself when you're saying, well, I can eat whatever I want as long as I add things to it. rather than saying like, well, I can't have this, I can't have that while you're out on your vacation.
Exactly. And so just going in with that mindset, it's also just really good for like being able to sleep and having fiber and like feeling full. So we're just asking you to add, because adding is fun.
And for our final, adding is fun.
Adding is fun.
Subtracting and long division, not so fun,
No.
but adding is fun. So for the final thing, we are also asking you to add N.E.A.T.
N.E.A.T.
So if you go to St. Louis, you're going to meet me in St. Louis. So N.E.A.T, as Catherine said earlier, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And that is all of the calories that you burn just by doing sort of normal daily activities that don't involve actual exercise. So ask yourself when you're on vacation, how can I add movement to whatever I'm doing? Whatever enjoyable activity I'm doing right now, how can I make it a little bit more about burning some calories? How can I walk somewhere instead of driving? How can I make the activity an actual physical activity? So it's not entirely sitting next to a pool or on a beach. Maybe you take a few minutes and you're doing some sunrise yoga before, on that beach. Maybe you do a pickup beach volleyball game if those exist. And just like in Top Gun.
What are you in, a Top Gun movie? I was about to say that. Well, and I think too, and this is something that we struggled with, I think, was that idea of, oh no, I'm not going to hit my step goal. Oh no, I'm not going to hit my calorie goal. I want to keep my streak going. That is a really big thing. And it can be defeating sometimes. Well, if I can't hit 20,000 steps, then I guess I just don't do anything. It's sort of this all or nothing.
Right.
But if we think about just adding that activity, like Donald said, it gamifies it again of like, ooh, hey, we can, and this is something that we do. It's like, oh, hey, there's a coffee place we can walk to. Oh, there's a farmer's market we can walk to.
Yeah.
For us, that is a way to just keep in that activity. And like, okay, sure, I'm not going to hit my step goal, but keeping an activity in any form is good for us no matter what we do. So that non-exercise activity thermogenesis is super great. I have lots of ideas also. Do you have more?
No, I was just going to say, maybe if you're a tourist and you're doing a tour, if it's like a city related vacation and you're seeing, let's say you're going somewhere like Europe where there are lots of old buildings with lots of stairs, maybe you actually like try and take some of those stairs or as many of those stairs as you can handle rather than avoiding that situation just to get like something in. But make whatever, sort of touristy, vacation-y activity you're doing, try and add as much calorie burning as you can. So what were your ideas?
So like, and this goes, you can walk and do activity anywhere. Did you know that, Donald? Anywhere.
I didn't.
You can.
Thank you for telling me.
So at the airport, while you're waiting to get on the plane, you can walk around the airport. When you're on the plane, you can get up every once in a while, walk along the aisles.
Do jumping jacks or squats in the aisles of the airplane.
But like if you're at a rest stop, take 5 minutes to just walk around to stretch your legs. If you're at, a big rest stop and you're at like a Walmart, and this is something that we do a lot, is like we are grocery shopping with family and we will just zigzag up and down aisles to get in extra steps. Like, okay, well, we don't have a planned activity. It's too hot outside or whatever. It's like, all right, well, I'm just going to walk up and down the aisles while everybody else is grocery shopping.
Yeah.
If you're at a conference center, like walk the aisles of the conference and, make sure that you just don't sit the whole time. Make up excuses to go back to your hotel just to get in those extra steps.
Yeah.
For me, having just traveled with a family member, knowing that I have more endurance than maybe somebody else might, it is okay to, for example, take a taxi to a destination and walk back.
Yeah.
Or walk to a destination and take a taxi back. Some people have like very strict rules about like, well, why do we take a taxi? We could just, like, they get intense about it, but like, oh, just do split it 50-50. Like, oh, if you're gonna, like, we can walk there and taxi back or vice versa.
Definitely.
It definitely helps the idea of like, well, I'm going to be too tired to go both ways. Okay, well then split the difference. Just do one. For me, just getting in activity, walking in parks, or even just being in the pool, being active and not being like, well, how many laps am I getting? Does this count as exercise or not? Like, for me, just enjoying the experience of being outside and doing things can like really helps me feel like my normal self back in the real world, not in St. Louis.
Yeah, and you know it. I am sometimes able to, believe it or not, enjoy a vacation more if I know I'm working in some of these things that are keeping me heading towards my health and fitness goals, like while I'm also enjoying myself.
Well, and two, I think I used to beat myself up if, oh gosh, there's a fitness center at the hotel, but I'm not using it, or there's only one treadmill and it's already taken.
Yeah.
And then I would just feel like, oh, well, now my streak is ruined or whatever. BJ Fogg actually talks about context and those prompts to do our habits. Sometimes people think like, oh, well, I always do a plank in the morning, your favorite thing,
Yeah.
a plank in the morning as soon as I get up. But when I'm on vacation, I don't do it. And it's because our prompts are different. Our spaces are different. And it's okay to think about pausing our normal habits and behaviors because we don't have the same context. And it's okay. Like, all right, well, it's not practical to use the hotel gym. It's not practical to, get in my, I'm not going to like bring my rebounder on the plane to Tasmania, which is actually a place I want to go. But that's another thing.
I hear they have really great devils there.
I saw that coming
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah.
But really thinking about pausing your normal habits and just embracing where you are and embracing those experiences feels a lot better than thinking of yourself as like, oh, well, now I've ruined all my habits. I've broken my streak. I haven't gotten in my step goal. So really the purpose, what is the purpose of a vacation? Merriam-Webster defines the purpose of a vacation as fun and enjoyment. But it can feel overwhelming when we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be this perfect version of ourselves on vacation. And so for me and hopefully for you, our dear listener, thinking about what you can add feels so much better than worrying about some sort of perfect version of yourself. What can you add in terms of pumping up the volume?
Pump up the volume.
How can you pump up the volume? How can you gamify it? Whether you're a Terminator or a pack person, a she-pack or a he-pack.
What?
He-Man.
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man. She-Man.
She-pack and he-pack. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
You were thinking of like super packs?
Yeah, I was. I was actually thinking of packing like clothes or something. But the term is Ms. Pac-Man. Ms. Pac-Man. Yeah.
Okay, so however you can gamify it to just say like, oh, what good luck. They've got this on the menu also. Oh, what good luck. I can add this fruit or this vegetable. We're not asking you to subtract anything, just add. And the same goes for activity. What can you add? How can you enjoy your actual surroundings, whether you're getting fitness credit for it or not? Like, oh, well, how many calories do you burn with badminton or whatever? Like, I don't even, is badminton, is that with a wiffle or is wiffle ball?
No, a wiffle ball is wiffle ball. Badminton, you use a birdie or sometimes called a shuttlecock.
Okay. So even if you feel like you're not getting credit for it, you get credit for life. And we are working ourselves on building identities of people who are able to build in healthy habits in any situation that we're in. And they might not be the perfect situations. They might not be ideal. But if we go into any situation with the identity of a person who cares about physical movement, who cares about eating foods that make them feel good, that is just like, that is kind of our identity now. Sure, we go off track. We eat more than maybe we would like. But when we go in thinking about adding instead of feeling defeated, it just feels so much better. And as we're, like I said, you're coming back from the trip. That's a bummer. Like, oh no, you're going back to the grind. What good luck to come back home knowing what your strategy is already when you return of how you're going to reintegrate your normal habits back post vacation. Sure, it might take a day or two of getting back on track and setting some minimums for yourself, like Donald said, of just sort of like getting in a walk, just getting back into tracking. But it feels much better going in with a plan to return to habits, to return to weighing in. Like I'll weigh in the next week, maybe give myself a little bit of time to get back on track. But it's better to do that and kind of do a soft re-entry into normal life than it is to have the vacation extend another month just because you're so overwhelmed and gosh, I didn't really think about it. And like, now I'm just starving all the time. So wherever you are going this summer, whether it's just a backyard barbecue, to your in-laws' house, away for a quick weekend, you're going to a conference, a kids away badminton tournament, state national. Which
that's a real thing
do.
That exists. Yes.
Like wherever it is, whatever the circumstances, whether it's a road trip or flying, thinking about adding feels much more doable than micromanaging every step and then being disappointed. Think about that addition. And for me, I did not have a weight issue because of the occasional vacation that I had. I had a weight issue because I treated every single day like I was going to St. Louis. Every day was a vacation day.
Yeah, like it is much more important what you do consistently throughout the year than it is on what you do on one week or 2 week long vacation.
Right. So you might pause those normal behaviors, but knowing that they are waiting for you like an eager puppy at the I don't know.
Yeah.
That was I don't know.
Just imagining my habits like in puppy form with their tongues hanging out when I come home. Yeah.
What kind of a dog do you imagine?
I know a little one.
A little.
Like it's like a habit, like it's like a piece of paper with the habit written on it, but it's got a dog's ears and face on it for some reason, and it's panting at the door when I come home.
So if we've given you that terrifying visual, to think about what you can add this summer to your habits, how you can gamify it, and also like let us know what works for you. Like we're not podcasting in a vacuum. What works for you when you go on vacation? What feels good to you in terms of your addition? And what can you do when you return to get back on track more quickly? Like Donald said, what we do most of the time matters more than small little blips. And knowing that you can go away on vacation without feeling shame or guilt really matters to actually just enjoying your time away. Addition feels really good. And I hope the addition of this episode in your ears was good for you.
Yes, and if you liked the addition of this episode in your ears, or if you would like more terrifying visuals, we have almost 340 other episodes you can check out, and the most recent 300 are available on all the major podcast platforms, wherever you found this one. And every single episode is available on YouTube and also on our website anytime at weonlylookthin.com.
Yep, and if you are at weonlylookthin.com, click on that link for join our support group to find out more about Wolt Place. We Only Look Thin Place is our Facebook-based accountability group for women. We are not a weight loss plan. Come with your own plan. BYO plan.
BYO plan, yeah.
But come for support and accountability and just fellowship and friendship on this weight loss journey venture. We have maintainers. We have people who have a little to lose, a lot to lose. We're all on the same journey together wherever you are. Please join us. It'll be super fun. We do weekly Zoom meetings. We do accountability posts and challenges. So come and check us out. We've got 2 subscription subscription options, a monthly subscription with a 3-day complimentary trial, and a 3-month subscription with a 7-day complimentary trial to see if Wolt Place is right for you.
Yeah, so please check it out. It's a really great group that we think that you will get a lot out of. Also, if you'd like to interact with us in other ways, you can find us on the social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram at We Only Look Thin, or you can send us an email. We still, after all these years, accept emails at weonlylookthin@gmail.com. If you have episode suggestions, if you have questions, we'll do our best to answer them. If you would just like to give us a compliment, we love to hear from you. Once again, that is weonlylookthin@gmail.com.
Yep, and if you have a couple of extra minutes and can head over to Apple Podcasts, please leave us a rating and a review. Not only does it let us know that what we're doing after all of these years is making a difference in your life, but it also helps others find our podcast when they're looking for inspirational, just real talk.
Real straight talk. We're straight shooters.
Talk from other weight loss people. So please help us out and help out the rest of the world. Really, world.
Really,
by,
really.
Rating and review.
And you can also help out the rest of the world by just telling somebody about the show. It really helps the world out if you know somebody who might get something out of our show and you mention it in a conversation, in a Zoom meeting. Just interrupt all your coworkers on your next work Zoom meeting and just say, hey, you know what, everybody should check out the We Only Look Thin podcast, and put a link to it in the group chat in your Zoom. I think it'll go really well for you. Or if you're
not at all awkward,
or if you're on the interweb, if you're in something like a Discord server or a Reddit group or a Facebook group, and it seems appropriate to give us a shout out, that really is one of the best ways that helps the show grow, and we would appreciate it.
We sure would. So if you're concerned that Donald is a fruit terminator or that maybe he has Pac-Man fever, just remember that Donald and I are...
Why can't it be both?
An inspiration.
The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.